Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
Great. Welcome to Flyover State of Film, and we're back from my boys' extravagant vacation to glorious New Jersey to watch me get married again.
Yep. I wanted to send a special shout out to anyone from Joe's wedding who is going to watch this episode ironically so they can make fun of Joe the next time they see him.
No, I'm sure that'll happen. Everyone was like, your podcast friends were so nice. We can't wait to watch this episode.
They were very high and very lost for many sections of the wedding.
That's fair. That's fine.
It was so much fucking fun, though. That was a good time.
Yes, I had a blast. Seeing my boys. Would have been nice if Joe didn't have the stupid obligation of getting married and he could have hung out with us the whole time. But
I did hang out with you guys a lot.
Should we have
someone who had obligations?
I think we all commented that you and Laura were both very good about making sure you made the rounds to see everybody, even though we could tell you wanted to hang out with us the most.
I did. I think Friday night we hung out for a bit, which was really nice to do. And then wedding night, I hung out with you and Sarah at the after party for a while, but Yusuf decided to fall asleep, and TJ was at a different
passed
location.
Out so fucking hard.
Which is funny is what I called that I was going to be the one. I was like, I won't make it to that after party.
I always
close it down.
I can go 24/7, like a legit can go. But if you show me a bed, I go like maybe I should rest.
I did go 24/7. I didn't go to bed that night.
No,
that was
impressive. I was still getting texts from Jill in the morning.
Your second wedding, essentially.
Yeah, so for anyone that's new to listening, it was a COVID wedding, so this was our big ceremony that we meant to have in 2020. But I was so happy, and Laura and I were so thankful that you guys came, and I know we've said that a bunch, but it truly meant a lot. And glad you all had fun. Yusuf got to dance with my mom. Nice, did the merengue.
Can I say something real fast? I've been holding this in for a while, man. Ever since that night, Saturday, when I first saw her. Your mom. My guy. Woo-wee!
Hey, don't talk about her that way.
We're good looking people, okay? I get it.
Wait, TJ and Yusuf almost got in a fight because he was so mad that he got to dance with her. TJ was like, "We're good." I called dibs, man. What's up?
This is why Amarise left TJ that night.
That's right. That was the last time we ever saw Amarise.
No, man, that was so much fun, and the table was great. Everyone bonding, I saw you guys in Pittsburgh, obviously, but that was a real quick trip. Obviously, we know what happened to me during the beginning of it. This one, I think I
had some lost time in that one.
Yeah. This one, I finally lasted through it, and just even Friday night, don't mean to rub this in, Joe, but Friday, and me and Brian getting together early Sunday before they left at the boardwalk, just hanging out for a while. It was cool, man. That was everything was natural, normal. Everyone bonded together, all the ladies, everyone else.
Yeah, it was nice to see the ladies get along, and in that way where you could tell that it was pretty genuine. Nobody was through clenched teeth, oh, you seem so nice.
Well, even at the after party that I lasted at least an hour at, maybe a little less. It was cool. Turn around, Laura's just hanging out the table with Brian and Sarah and Amarise, and just seeing her just taking time to sit down and talk to everybody. Even though we get her on here, she's probably our one special guest that we get to see every once in a while. But hopefully everyone else pops in when they can.
Yeah, everybody was cool dudes. I really enjoyed it.
The gang got all here.
I got to.
What was before we start talking about New Jersey? What was your favorite thing to do in New Jersey? I guess besides the wedding festivities. I know you guys hit the Seaside Boardwalk a lot.
Brian and Yusef, I'm from Jersey, so you guys obviously take the reins.
Yeah, it was just going to the Seaside Boardwalk and eating the delicious foods.
Yeah,
and I got to find a real candied apple. Goddamn, I was so happy about it.
He was talking about it.
Was it the one that we passed like 20 times?
No, I actually went to a different place and got one.
It's my aunt's favorite thing on the boardwalk. Candied apples.
You know, you can get them. You can get caramel apples here, and you can get red, but the texture is still caramel. I have not been able to find a good candied apple with like the hard shell on it. And they had it, and I actually got one that had coconut on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
taffy.
No, I didn't try that.
No, I didn't try.
I should put that on a list of things.
Yeah. I love the boardwalk, but especially my wife, because she grew up watching Jersey Shore, so she was fucking pumped.
Yes.
And we walked by the Jersey Shore house and all that shit, but my favorite was Hoboken because it felt like that classic, even though it's Jersey, but it's like that classic New York City cinematic views that you get in movies, like the family going up those steps to their walk-offs and all that shit, and the small streets.
Yeah, it's very Hoboken. You guys got a beautiful day too.
I got a nice ticket that I paid, a parking ticket, just awesome. And the view of the skyline of New York City. I haven't been to the city in I think 12 years now, so it was pretty nice to see the city. So,
even you when you jinxed the wedding at first, like the 5 days before when you were talking about the weather.
Yeah.
The weather was perfect.
Yeah,
Friday, Sunday.
Oh, and I want it on record. I said it to the boys on Friday, but you weren't there, yo. So that tweet wasn't about the wedding. It was about my vacation, okay? I was worried about my vacation.
He was not even concerned that it might rain on your wedding. He was like, what? I might get...
I was thinking about my days.
We talked for some reason, and you told me the same thing. I get it. No, it all worked perfectly. It was awesome. It's crazy. Beautiful. Like everyone says it, but it's crazy. It was over, right?
It was beautiful.
I did a lot of crying.
Yeah, and your crying got me crying, and your brother's speech got me crying. I was like, God damn it, man! I didn't come to this to cry, but it could have been the weed.
Everyone cried.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Speaking of crying, did anyone cry during the Sopranos movie?
Ooh, kind of good. That wasn't bad.
Kind of fine.
The baby bad. They fully did unironically. The baby knows you're a piece of shit, which I thought was pretty great. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I got that. So
I was like, so we're just fully doing. I think you should leave now.
Yeah, fuck that tweet with Mark Sanchez eating a hot dog. I hope he
what was that?
Yeah, that was dumb.
It was like
choke on that hot dog, Mark Sanchez.
Almost word for. Well, I get it because he was would randomly eat shit like hot dogs on the bench, even when he was on the Cowboys and not even the Jets. But
Tim Robinson owns hot dogs until Jamie Loftus
they word for word stole the trying to sneak it. Just come on, guys.
Yeah, Many Saints of Newark. It was an okay prequel. I feel like my love for the show really pushed me through to saying I had fun.
Right, I feel like we talked about it off air, but fine is the word that I think is going to come up a lot here. And definitely I think, and I tweeted this, I was like, I don't know if I think it's good or if I think it's good for a prequel. And I think that's the bar, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A prequel can fuck up in so many ways, and I do think that Many Saints avoided a lot of that. It didn't go out of its way to show us things we'd already heard about and stuff like that. But yeah, I agree.
I would say
fine.
I was going to say, from my point of view, obviously all three of you have seen the entirety of the show, correct? Mm-hmm. I've only seen the first season. I'm still stuck on the 12th episode because I keep, restarting. I'm like, I've seen this, and then by that time, I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to take the season finale yet. But I went into it kind of open-minded. I think when this first came out, I, did the normal TJ thing and shit on it right away, but then I was like, I'm kind of into it. I'm going to give a shout-out. I think the kid the son. I mean, I'm sure you guys have an opinion on.
Michael Gandolfini.
I think he did good. I think he emoted like his father. He had the same type.
I felt like it was a gimmick. The casting was a gimmick at first, and I definitely know I was vocal about that. But
but he definitely auditioned. Like it was such.
Shut up, audition.
I really learning also that like John Bernthal was like a family friend too of like the Gandolfinis.
Oh, was he?
Okay.
Yeah. Like, if you go back and like look at like I creeped on Michael Gandolfini's Instagram like not too long ago, and like a couple years ago there's quite a few posts about John Bernthal being so like close to the family and like all this. So like there was all definitely interconnecting of like who was cast for what.
They definitely knew the right amount to use him. I don't think I would have liked it if this was a full-on Tony Soprano origin movie. He's like in it, but he's very much the B plot. He's not
and he has some AJ tendencies. Like you want to see if you see more of him, like he's so fucking annoying, but he just did enough.
Yeah, and then like I was gonna say, shout out. I love how Brian brought this to my attention when I was actually talking about how I thought Dickie was probably the best character and best actor in the show or the movie, other than Vera Farmiga. But like I didn't realize it's fucking Billy from Jurassic Park 3 and like those type of fucking things.
And he's Pollux Troy from
Pollux Troy.
He goes batshit crazy in that one.
He's a really good character actor who pops up in things. It was cool to see him get, and I do think he was really good in this. Although I do think they tried a little too hard to make him the Tony of this movie, to like give him scenes where he's confessing to a type of like, it's almost like he's having like seeing a psychiatrist. He's sitting down with people and stuff. I love Ray Liotta, but those scenes were like they felt shoehorned.
This movie spawned some great memes, and my favorite meme, I think I saw of it all, was like, the One Perfect Shot Sopranos, but it was the photo of from Beer Fest of how the twin brother shows up. What's his name in that movie? You know what I'm talking about.
I think Landfill would just want me to call me. Want you to call me Landfill too.
Did they mention
Landfill too? Dickie and it killed me because I'm like, that kind of is what happened.
I remember he spoiler, the Ray Liotta dad character gets killed, and then but I was like, I know I've seen it in the trailers.
The trailer was all in the.
I was
they
like,
don't mention the twins in like Sopranos episodes about like.
That's why it was smart to do a movie about Dickie, so they only talk about him like a couple times in the movie.
Yeah, just
never anything very specific. Except they did go back to the TV trays thing, which I thought was great. Christopher's got a great line. He was bringing home TV trays for me to watch TV on.
I enjoyed it.
The one sequence that I really think was like probably the best made, or the one storyline is the Gumar that he got, and how he saves her from his father, and then ultimately. Takes her at the shore and just shows her a good time, I guess.
Yeah,
not to spoil what happened.
I liked her character. Her character had ambition. Like she talked about she already before she ever met Ray Liotta, she understood the idea of the difference between a boss and a worker, and like she wanted to be a boss. She wanted to own her own shit, and like so she had her own.
Sorry guys, as we're talking, starting Twitter fights about Many Saints of Newark as we're talking.
You need to focus on us, Joe.
No, Colin Murr just shared that LA Times article saying stupid people watched it, ? So I replied with, thanks, Colin, that's nice of you.
Yeah, of course we watched it, dude.
Of course I watched the fucking Sopranos.
I thought that fucking scene, though, when, she admits to him and then, confesses her love, but even tells she's like, you don't know, and he reacts as I would expect anyone in that situation that's in an organized crime family to react. There was no
person whose whole life is violence. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Young Penelope Cruz's storyline was perfect.
The one thing I will say that I think they definitely fumbled a bit was the idea of the kind of up-and-coming black gang taking on the mob. I feel like they definitely thought they had an idea there.
Yeah, but that didn't go anywhere.
And then, they didn't really... And I think because with their little post-credit teaser, I think they're testing the waters to see if they can do a show. I think
they're going to. Like, I mean, like, it is part of today's news. Like, that Game of Thrones miniseries, like, dropped.
That looks like dog shit.
Oh, it looks like dog shit. But we all forgot about that. I remember them saying there's a prequel series and there wasn't. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I did like Leslie. Leslie was a good. Him and Dickie had good chemistry.
Yeah, it's gonna happen with the Sopranos movie. I think the numbers for HBO Max are gonna prove wise. The reviews are like, it's fine. You could improve on.
Right? Yeah.
Like,
I think
all the characters
we're on the same page.
And doing like a build up to Tony's being Tony, I guess.
Can we dedicate the last minute of this mini review to Silvio, because we gotta talk about.
Okay, but before we talk about that, we need to talk about real quick. Corey Stoll and Vera Farmiga both did a great job portraying characters that we know very well, but acting and being their own person and bringing something to the character, especially Livia. Livia's somebody we got robbed. You know, we didn't get as much Livia as we should have in the show, and seeing more of her and her scenes with Tony, where she had like two very great scenes. The one where she's goes to see the counselor, and then the one with her and Tony where she gives him the sandwich, were two amazing, incredible, like as good of a Livia scene as you get in the show. They were really great.
Yeah,
so
it was.
Say that because I know
it was very reminiscent. It was very reminiscent to the first season when he brings her, I think, a radio. And he tries to dance with her, and she's trying to feed him.
That's a pilot, yeah.
That's the pilot. Okay, yeah. But yeah, it was very reminiscent of that sequence when she made him the sandwich.
I put my pinky ring on for this, but Maron, what did they do to Sil?
My boy. They massacred my boy.
Like,
that's a classic line from The Sopranos, guys.
Yeah.
Like, did that guy like?
Which one's Silvio first?
On TikTok.
Silvio's the guy who owns the Bing. You know, in The Sopranos, he's the guy who owns the strip club, the Bing. He's like Tony's consigliere. He's basically like kind of the second.
The guy from
Tony's
right
man.
Wait, so which?
He's got the big pompadour, played by Steven Van Zandt.
The one that was bald.
Comb over first.
Right. Yeah. The movie reveals that now we know that he was bald and he got the toupee, and his hair's been a toupee all this time, which is not something they revealed in the show.
Yes, and like the actual guy who plays Sil is like very like he's been around since the late 70s with Bruce Springsteen's band. He's like never been photographed without a bandana on. Like
he always wears a bandana. Like Brett
it's like
Michaels.
Truly like definitely not a choice of the character of the 8 seasons of the show.
But you have to imagine that David Chase talked to. There's no way they did that without David Chase.
Oh, no, I'm sure David Chase, but David Chase is also a dumbass sometimes. Like, someone should have stepped in and said, listen, we know this guy auditioned on TikTok.
Not to say that it's a good idea, but I'm just saying I bet he cleared it with Steven Van Zandt. I bet he didn't do it without his go-ahead.
I remember before watching, because my wife is a huge fan also of the show. And we were on our way home to watch the movie, and she was like watching interviews of all the casts. And then she was mentioning the guy that played Silvio. And the guy that played Silvio said, "Oh, I'm going to disconnect me from the internet because I know that no matter how well I play this character, I'm going to get destroyed." And I was like, dude, you already knew.
Yeah, you knew.
You already knew that you did shit.
My complaint, and I didn't, like, honestly, the thing with the hair, whatever, fine. My problem with his portrayal is that it's cartoonish. He is playing a parody of Silvio, and he looks like a Spirit Halloween costume. Like,
I'm just glad that,
he's doing almost like a Robert De Niro.
And he's doing the walk around, like Silvio does that sometimes, but he doesn't walk around with his arms out.
I'm just glad, I don't know. Like, everyone else was fine. Like, I'm glad there wasn't a scene where they said, like, "Hey, D," instead of "Hey, T."
Yeah.
Or, like that.
Pussy was there. Like,
the Pussy joke was funny.
That
kind of laughed.
The guy who plays Paulie Walnuts, Billy, was it?
He looked
Billy Walnuts
or something. Is
great prosthetic.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's
everybody
says
from okay to fine.
Yeah, okay to fine.
Okay.
It's a streamer.
All right, let's talk about Dramedies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a good idea, but we came up with what are our favorite dramedies? What's a movie that it makes you laugh, but it maybe also makes you feel, I think a lot more movies are this way now You know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
we're way into the realm of like thoughtful, touching. Even something like Bridesmaids tries to get you, even though it's like mostly.
Yeah, it's always like the first 2 acts is a joke, and then the third act has a message.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of jokes.
Yeah. So I guess Joe left the show. So Yusef, do you want to start?
Yeah, I have a few. But I don't know why the first one that came to my mind, and it was because of what you just mentioned. Like now, everybody's doing this dramedy, but back in 2006, I want to say this came out. It wasn't as common. It was starting to bubble up, I want to say. And it's Lars and the Real Girl.
Oh yeah, it's a great one.
Okay, all right.
From Ryan Gosling. That's very, very drama, but it has this dry, dark sense of humor that if that's the tune that you is that your frequency, let's say, you're gonna laugh more than normally. But even if it's not your frequency of dark humor, it is a compelling-ish story of a introvert trying to find love with himself and then using that as a gateway to actually connect with other people. So it's a fun premise.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling is fun in the movie. Like the brother, I think is the guy from Parks and Rec, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's actually funny in that movie.
No, it's Parks and Rec. It's Mark Brandanowitz. It's like
yeah.
Season 1 when the show was
the guy they had to kick off the show.
Yeah, because he sucks.
He was not Jim.
Yeah, not Jim. But yeah, that's mine. I have a few honorable mentions, but I'll let TJ take it over.
Oh yeah, I have 2, but the one I want to do is similar to Yusef, so I'm just gonna save it for because I'm sure someone else also has it. But my pick actually has Ryan Gosling in it, and it's weird that I was just talking shit about La La Land on Twitter because I don't know what it is about this movie, but like every time I watch it, I get like certain movies you can watch at any point in time during them, you just stop and just finish it. It's like one of those things that happens. And Crazy Stupid Love,
love that movie.
It's like one of those things that like
no
matter what, like I mean,
really?
Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell by themselves are funny, but then like you throw in the divorce and the cheating and like all those type of things, that hits home for me. So it's like one of those things where like you feel for the film, all the emotions hit you, all the characters are great, especially Boogie Nights. Julianne Moore, yes, like she's great if like being, a woman that feels like she's been left out and then has to find a new partner, but then also everything about it. And then I guess Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, I was just talking about their chemistry in La La Land, but I think their chemistry in this is great. He plays really well off of Steve Carell.
Oh, I love the dirty dancing sequence.
Yes.
And when he takes off his shirt and she's like, what the fuck?
He's like, oh, what the fuck? Yeah, like shit like that. Like, that's the type of like.
That was a thing in the early I was going to bring it up when we talk about I Love You Man, but it's such a thing in like early like mid 2000s comedies to pick like a super hyper specific pop culture reference and focus a bunch of your movie around it. This movie like I Love You Man did Rush. What's the one? Role Models. They did Kiss. Talk about that. They did. It's just such a weird like. But I mean, it does make sense when you think about our pop culture obsessed. Like the generation that was making those movies is.
I mean, like we're a group of essentially best friends that get together and talk about pop culture. Game. I mean, that's what.
What the hell, man?
No,
essentially.
Essentially, when I can't hang out with my real friends, it's you guys.
We are. That's not what I meant. No, but like
you know what? I'm not coming to your third wedding.
Like, it's a good plot device. It's a lot of what people rally around is like just or bond over is like pop culture references, right?
But like even with this movie, like
you like Critters, I like Critters, and then like maybe we like touching each other's dicks after that. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down with stuff like that. I like touching those things every once in a while with you guys. But no, it's like this movie has like the first introduction of those two meeting and like he's wearing the New Balances, he throws them off the balcony and the back and forth with them. But then like a scene that hits home for me is like where he goes to the yard in the middle of the night and does all the yard work, but he's trying to do it secretly. And like just so she's notice, and like he does everything he would have done if he was still living at home. Like that type of stuff is just.
It's a sweet movie.
Oh yeah.
It's
I always laugh when he opens the wallet and Ryan Gosling just looks at him.
Yeah. But even like the same, I wish I could know the name off the top of my head, but Kevin Bacon just shows up out of nowhere playing that character in that whole fight scene.
Actually, the wallet moment I had on the wedding day, because like I had to have my wallet on me for a certain reason, and I went to a groomsman. I'm like, hey, could you hold my wallet? And my wallet's like one of those thick dad wallets. There's no money in it. It's just thick. And they were like, no, I'm not that size. I can't fit.
I'm gonna have scoliosis by the end of this wedding.
Where you're most hunched over.
What do you got,
your picks? What is your pick?
Oh, yeah. So, what's like you guys? I also have like a list of movies, but the first one.
Flybois go hard. We always have an answer and then 3 honorable mentions per person.
Always off the dome.
So I have the obvious one. To me, this is Dramedies. People mention it, and I feel like it kicked off Dramedies of that mid 2000s era. Speaking of Steve Carell, it's Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
and I vividly remember it when it was released because people being like, it's so funny and dying laughing. And then if you're not familiar so much with the drama heaviness of comedies, especially, you are a little thrown off because it is really funny, but then you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it has a core.
Paul Dano.
That's why it was like an awards.
You're like, why am I crying? Why am I?
That really like set that tone for like Fox Searchlight Pictures, right? That was 820.
Also normalized grandpas who are junkies.
Yes, just doing heroin because you're old.
Fucking, if I'm 80 years old and you think and I'm doing heroin, just leave me the fuck alone. Yeah. Like, I'm 80 years old.
I'm gonna try some shit.
Right,
That's
I'm
not
about
a bad idea.
Some shit.
I've always, and I guess I shouldn't have him as a role model. But I was like 14. I heard about what Hunter S. Thompson did when he was older. I was like, yeah, I want to do that too. But maybe that dude has a lot of demons, so I shouldn't be.
Right. Maybe like, tone it down a little bit. Maybe.
Yeah.
I also think Little Miss Sunshine is one of those movies that like pushed out some of the like fratty like stoner movies at the time. Like they kind of said, okay, now there's gonna be rooms
break the back of the like raunchy sex comedy for a while that had been like since American Pie.
We're going to promote a comedy, but we're actually going to disguise this heavy drama where you're going to cry at the end of it because the grandpa dies.
Shit. Steve Carell, like, if Crazy Stupid Love, Little Miss Sunshine, and like Dan
in Real Life.
He's been doing it. Like, he's good at it, man.
Foxcatcher? Oh, wait, that's not a dramedy.
What is it?
Foxcatcher?
No. What's the Letters to Marwin or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's so bad.
No.
I never saw that one.
Steve Carell successfully did what Jim Carrey failed to do, in the sense of like audience going, "I'll go see you in these dramedies while you do dumb comedies."
Yeah, but I guess that's a great point, Joe. But I think the difference between them is that Steve Carell wasn't more of a physical comedian. Like Jim Carrey was just like.
Yeah, he made his brand on like, I'm gonna.
Yeah, it was so much over the top. Then when he was like, I'm serious, everybody's like, do your face. Do the face.
Be the number 23. Do it. Be 23.
Do the face.
Yeah. Brian, talking about a bad movie. Revisited that one a couple years ago, and it's like
real bad. That's one that really got me. Like I was excited for it, and then man, what a disappointment! I was like, oof.
I might get up there with like Fear.com of some of the dumbest premises ever.
Fear.com, legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
It's one I've actually really wanted to revisit. And I think it's buried. Like I don't think Fear.com is an easy movie to get your hands on.
Yeah, it's I would hide it. No, there's no way. There's no way that movie's not on Shudder.
Shudder
will put anything on. All right, my dramedy. This was one that if you had asked me maybe 6 or 8 months ago before my last rewatch, I would have lumped in with like my like
it's on Tubi, by
awesome
the way.
Comedy like my 90s high school comedies like Dazed and Confused and stuff like that.
Those are dramedies.
But on a rewatch, I was like, this actually has a lot more. There's like not as much funny in this, and it's really more just drama, and that's Empire Records.
Oh yeah.
Like there is funny stuff in it, but most of the storylines are pretty serious and there's a lot of like scenes that are not played for laughs that are really kind of dark and it's still a really great movie, but it really like the last time I rewatched it kind of like because I was watching it with Harrison actually, and we'd been watching some high school comedy, so I was like, oh yeah, Empire Records, that fits right in. And he was like, this isn't really funny, and I was like, yeah, it's got some funny stuff in it, but yeah, you're right, it's definitely much more. Yeah, it definitely overall is more.
It's like.
I mean, you have Renee Zellweger with the speed addiction, Liv Tyler wanting to...
Tyler almost kind of trying to throw herself at the older man. You got the statch thing kind of going.
The girl from
and the unrequited love from the other guy, so he's got his... You got the, I was Slater, his whole... You got the kid coming back with the gun and shooting the place up, threatening to shoot the place up.
Oh, yeah. I was just texting you guys the other day about... I had that experience with Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, we were talking about Fast Times. I think me and Yusuf were having a conversation about Fast Times recently, right?
I was watching it, and because I picked up the Criterion, and I'm like, it wasn't a Flybois. I don't know if there's any funny in that movie. I think it's all pretty depressing.
No, we mentioned it in a Flybois.
Yeah, it's a much more realistic high school movie, and honestly, the Spicoli shit that is the most remembered is the worst part. You could cut Sean Penn from the movie, and I'd be thrilled.
Well, we could cut Sean Penn from life, and we'd all be thrilled.
Right, honorable mentions.
A round of honorable mentions. Let me just start. We'll go backwards since I'm already talking.
You're always talking.
Brian also inspired me to grab a beer from my fridge because I saw you had a beer.
One, buddy. My two honorable mentions. One is a movie we actually have covered on the show, but that's Fear and Loathing. You brought it Hunter S. Thompson. I think Fear and Loathing is definitely a dramedy. I remember when I had my movies organized by genre, I always struggled. Where do I put Fear and Loathing? It's definitely not a straight up comedy. And then the other one, I think we've been talking a lot about the mid 2000s, Sideways. I think Sideways is a big one,
dude,
from that era. I really like.
That's when I showed Laura about a year ago, I'd say, and she was like, "This isn't funny at all. Why are we watching that? I'm bummed." And I'm like,
"Yeah."
It showed up on one of those
maybe a little more drama than D, but I think it's got some dramedy in it.
Well, that's what inspired our check out the TV top comedies bracket. Dramedies inspired the bracket because that list had only dramedies on it.
We did a bracket about.
Yeah, that's right. I do remember that.
Just comedy.
Damn, there's so much content. We've done so much content.
So much free content. What are your honorable mentions? Shut up, Brian.
No, I wanted to give us a shout out.
Shut up, Brian.
Earlier, a thing that I wanted to say about the wedding is how proud I was of me and TJ and Yusuf were together a lot and never felt the need to make some content. No. We never felt the need to record anything. We just very naturally. And I meant to say that. It came up in my mind. You reminded me of it. So sorry to derail the thing.
No,
say something nice, you fucker.
I recorded stuff though.
But how weird would it have been if I was like, hey guys, I have a little room we could go off to the side, we do a 20-minute mini review mid-wedding going on. People what are they doing?
We're all still dressed in our wedding shit.
Yeah. Oh no. So I'm just gonna rattle off because I wrote a little more. So Chef, I think, is just a phenomenal movie. Talk about Jon Favreau later. One movie that I don't know, it's so much a dramedy, but I would find it really charming. It's definitely dramatic. Is Julie and Julia.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think it's more fun, but the two I want to mention because they fall in a category of dramedy white people problems, which I feel like there's a whole category in itself where it's not mumblecore.
90% of Hollywood.
Sleeping with Oscar movies, Joe.
No, I'm talking about we had $10 million and we wanted to hang out in New York City for a weekend.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Sleeping with Other People. I think it's Jason Sudeikis and Alison Brie. And it's just a nice movie, but it has some weight to it. But it starts two comedians and it takes you off guard a little bit in its drama, and I feel a lot of those movies
skeleton twins.
Yeah, just like I said, similar skeleton twins. Not as dramatic, but nice little movie. And the other one, My Blind Brother, and that has Nick Kroll, Jenny Slate, and Adam Scott in it.
I've always scrolled past.
Is there a Paul Rudd movie that's got a similar title to that?
My Idiot Brother. That's also a straight up dramedy. I remember I went to go see that over the new Planet of the Apes when the first movie came out, because we went like as friends in college, and there was a big group, and one group went to see that. I'm like, no, I love Paul Rudd and these like funny ass movies. This is a good cast. I'd rather see that than this Planet of the Apes. And I remember being like, I should have saw Planet of the Apes. This movie's fucking dumb. It's just sad. It's anyway. The Dramedies is a sneaky.
TJ, your turn.
Sorry. Laughing.
TJ's just laughing in the corner.
Just Joe. Just the way he did that. My honorable mention was Her, like Joaquin Phoenix. I think it's more funny than people give it credit, but also because I think the sadness outweighs the comedy heavily in the film. So it's like, you get those great scenes where he's like talking at a little video game, like in an interactive world, and then you get him masturbating to a phone. So like you get a nice mixed bag.
You get everything you want in a movie.
Yeah.
Also, every Wes Anderson movie, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Go to whylovemovies.com. I wrote a great review of that movie.
Nice. There you go. He's promoting it again.
Joe or Yusef, you got any honorable mentions?
There is no website. You can't go.
Damn it.
Yeah, I have a couple. Beginners. Ewan McGregor, Christopher Plummer. His dad, I think he's in his 70s. He finally comes out as gay. It's a very heartwarming movie. It's very beautiful. It's based on a true story of the writer/director. He's the same guy that did 20th Century Woman, I think it's called. It's pretty good. The chemistry between Ewan McGregor and Christopher Plummer is pretty sweet. It's pretty funny as well. About Time, I've mentioned it a couple times here, but that's a great dramedy. It's funny. It has a great premise of time travel.
That's Domhnall Gleeson. Domhnall Gleeson in that. I've never seen it, but I've heard it. I've had it recommended to me a bunch of times.
Yeah, it's pretty good, and it hits you in the balls.
Is the time travel as good as Time Trap?
It's better.
What about
in a recent one that took me by surprise, which is I kind of liked it, was Edge of 17. Pretty good.
Oh yeah, Edge of 17 is really. I like that movie a lot.
It's funny.
Like Booksmart, though. You like to say the same thing about like Booksmart and things like that, right?
No, Edge of 17's a little more.
No, it's more drama
than Booksmart.
Yeah, I think a dramedy has to have more than the one dramatic scene at the end of every comedy. You know what I mean? I think you have to have a little bit more than that.
That's like Meet Earl and the Dying Girl.
My bad.
That's the same category as Meet Earl and the Dying Girl.
If a movie has a girl,
I would even say that I wouldn't even consider I Love You Man a dramedy. I know we kind of picked this topic.
Oh, it's not at all.
But I think it's more. It's just a straightforward comedy.
Yeah, but they're great friends. They're great friends, ish potentially. So this topic makes sense. So I wanted to ask the guys because we had a best friend weekend. Essentially.
It's true that on my way home I was like, damn, it's gonna be a long time till I have a weekend this good again. Like I was like, that sucks. That's kind of a sucky feeling.
I got to chauffeur around Brian and Sarah.
We have been plotting.
Going back to the shore myself on Sunday, I was like, oh, this sucks. I like when Yusef was driving.
We have been plotting. Laura and I have been plotting our trips to see you guys, and even if it's just
there's a room I'm renovating right now. You cannot see it this way because it's fucking jacked right now, but there's a room for people here.
Yeah, this room that we're in right now will be a guest.
Not here, but I'll still let you stay with me. You can either sleep in a room with my DVDs or with my toys.
So I wanted to ask best friends in movies that either you view as positive or you want to aspire in real life. I want to kick it off with my wife's suggestion, which was perfect, and I didn't think about it, so I'll just say it here. Legally Blonde, Elle Woods, and Paulette the Beautician. That is a fantastic friendship. She elevates her, she builds her up, and she protects her from her shitty ex-boyfriend and sets her in the right path. She's always positive, pro friend, and she's always, a helping hand instead of being just like, whatever, critiquing her or being like, this is just another dumb beautician, or like she saw the potential in her and they became great friends. That was a great pick. Shout out to Alondra. I doubt that she's listening to this one, especially this deep into the episode, but shout out to her. Brian, what you got?
I struggled a little bit just because I was like, I'm trying to think of ones that weren't, first of all, like weren't maybe necessarily the focus of the movie they were in, or weren't related to each other, and like I found myself being like, oh wait, those people are brothers, they're not just friends and stuff like that. And I've got a couple of honorable mentions, like we always do. But I wanted to talk about I started thinking about, like, okay, just break it down. What's, like, pick a franchise. What's one of your favorite franchises? Start thinking about characters, and then it came to me immediately: Blaine and Mac from Predator, Jesse Ventura and Bill Duke. I mean, those dudes are just the best. They clearly have like a very strong connection with each other. And it's like a lot of, now obviously because they're side characters, a lot of it has to go unspoken, but I feel like you understand it with just the little bit you get, and there's clearly love there, and I mean, that's the kind of relationship I think any group of men should aspire to.
Very, very, very nice. Very surprising pick.
No, that's
I thought you were gonna go with like Han Solo and Chewbacca or some shit like that.
Oh, jeez, what am I, so predictable? Gee, come on.
A little bit.
No, I think the whole scene that kind of brings that together is like when, spoilers if you haven't fucking seen Predator since 1987, but when Jesse gets fucking laid out and Duke comes out and just lets go of the minigun. And like even at the end where they have like the close up on his fingers when the things just go in with nothing coming out, and then he releases,
crying and screaming. Yeah. I mean,
come
on. Like those people don't react that way when their parents die. Like those guys were.
Like people don't give Predator credit for the layers that it has, and that's one of the layers.
It's true.
Sure. And also when Duke throws a threaten to kill Weathers, so I got that part. Leave here.
Who's your essentially best friends on movie?
Best friends, and I think this movie does a good job of representing friendships that some other movies would make it a different point of contention in the movie. And that's Annie and Lillian in Bridesmaids, which would be Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph's character. And any other movie would really make the point of contention of that movie being that she's getting married. That it's not, and like, they have their drama in the movie and all of this, but there's a nice friendship of like, clearly like, I put up with your crap, you put up with my crap, but we're like there for each other. And it feels very like real. I just watched it for the first time in a long time.
I just rewatched it too because Unspooled did an episode.
Yeah, that's why
I was thinking the same thing. It holds up better than you expect.
No free shout outs.
It holds up much better than you. Oh, yeah, I won't shout out Unspooled. I'll start taking a dump on Unspooled because they've been missing lately.
They had a good episode
today with Exorcist. Bring me on your show and we'll talk about Alien.
They had a good Exorcist episode. They had a good Exorcist episode.
Timestamp.
But anyway, Brian, no, but that's would inspire that pick because I maybe rewatch the movie and it's on Peacock right now.
I forgot to take and it does hold up. Like I said, I think better than you would even expect.
And I think the friendships just an underrated part of that movie, right? Because if you want to compare it to what people compare it to, which is The Hangover, like those are all the worst friends in the fucking world.
Hey, that's my pick for Toxic Friends.
But yeah, that would be my just like a good representation of friendships. I mean, how even the movie we watched, and I Love You Man today. Like I think that's a fun relationship of best friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If it wasn't the movie we were going to talk about, it could have been on the list.
Yeah, just making a connection and all of that. So I'll just stick with Annie and Lillian and give my honorables after.
TJ.
Oh, for me, it was pretty easy with this one because, growing up, also, just taking us, for example, and also growing up, I had a group of friends, and, I don't need everyone to be exactly like me. I need 4 or, 5 different guys who I can bounce off of, maybe even have arguments with. Yeah, even, have, butt heads with, or even you bond closer with one guy in the group than the other, but everybody in the group brings something to the table. And for me, it was Stand By Me, one of my favorite movies of all time. The group of kids in that, you can even go back and watch the making of it with Rob Reiner, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Rob Reiner. Yep.
Just make for where he's like.
That's when he like was on a fucking roll. Just
banger
after banger.
He would say he would like scream at the kids like he was their father, and all four of them bonded on set because of that. But also, Corey Feldman bullied Jerry O'Connell, Will Wheaton, and actual Phoenix actually bonded like real tight, and that's why their characters had some great scenes together, and like just that entire thing. Like all four of us, like everyone, we all get along.
Did we talk about River Phoenix when we did the episode about people who died too young? Did anybody bring up River Phoenix? I thought so. I definitely meant to.
Yeah. But like that type of movie, and like even as like toxic as the movie American Pie could be, the same type of group, like there's the one shitty friend, which is like a Stifler, or like the wild card, like a Teddy, and there's me, which I like to combine myself with both of those guys, and like I see different characters in all you guys, so like I think Stand By Me is a great representation.
I'm Eugene Levy.
Yeah, you are the pops. Yusef, you are Stifler's mom, and Joe, you are Sherman. That's about it. That's all.
Oh wow. Okay, I'll go kill myself.
Because I don't want to be the redhead. I'm already the redhead.
That's not fine.
I have honorable mentions.
Wait, did everyone already go? Okay.
Yeah, everyone went. I do have a question before we start honorable mentions. I was trying to find this because I think it's a good definition of friendships. But I was trying to find one of movies. What's a definition
Webster's Dictionary defines it as
of like a movie that shows like friends that haven't seen each other in a while, but when they get together, it's like nothing happens.
Joe has a great answer for this one.
St. Elmo's Fire.
What's the Christmas movie you fucking always told me to watch, Joe?
Christmas movie.
Anthony Mackie, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, The Night Before. Oh my God, I can't believe
I think that's a great pick for this.
That is
I've never seen that. I've heard it's good though.
It's really good. It's super emotional. It has like its peaks and like.
This guy.
That weight
this guy
to
is a
it.
blast.
Like friends get together that don't always talk or get together, but it feels like they haven't.
What's the name of this guy? Michael Shannon.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Yusuf. You now go.
Honorable mentions. I wanted to go off the beaten path. Get Out. Chris and Rod, the security guy. Like he's the only one that believes him, and he goes to bat. He goes to the police, and then he saves him in the end. That's a fucking friend right there.
True.
That's fair.
I also have Sisterhood of Traveling Pants. Beautiful friendship. Everybody shares a pant.
Never seen that.
They help out with each other's problems.
Do they actually share pants?
Yeah, they're magical. I never saw it, but they're magic pants.
Now and then, I'm talking about Stand By Me. Now and Then could be on this list too. Great friendship.
Oh, great friendship.
Great friend movie.
Castaway. Chuck and Wilson. Come on. And
isn't that really just Chuck and Chuck though? I mean, are we really?
And
I have an honorable mention for the
Wally
next
with the Roach. So those are my honorable mentions.
One of those is a bad friendship, and obviously I took the low hanging fruit with this next topic, and I'm going worst friendships on film.
You don't want
our honorable mentions.
Don't care about our honorable mentions.
You don't want their essential.
That was a really good transition, guys.
It was. I'm sorry, but I want to talk. I still got other friendships I want to talk about.
Go, Brian.
Let's move it on.
So,
friendships.
when also going through my favorite franchises, another one popped out at me, and I tried to, again, come up with ones that would come out, maybe not be the first picks. Caesar and Maurice from the New Planet of the Apes. He's like
beautiful friendship.
Consigliere. There, he's a voice of reason. That's a really great one. And then the other one I wanted to mention is from one of my favorite kids movies, Paranorman. Neil and Paranorman is a king.
That's a great pick.
Norman is the outcast, and Neil is like seeks him out and was like, "No, man, we're friends. I'm gonna be your friend. You need a friend, and I'm hit no matter what." Like, just totally embraces all the weird shit. Totally doesn't, you know what I mean? Stands up for him, even when he knows he can't stand up for him. Like,
when shit is going crazy, he's like, "Yeah, we're ride or die."
Oh yeah. He doesn't freak out. He's not doesn't do that thing where he's like a cowardly friend who like runs away. No, he's just in it. Like, he's in it with Norman.
It's kind of the same way with the Kid Who Would Be King. Like, that group of friends, everybody's like, "I guess we're knights now."
Yeah, even the bullies, like, they're like,
"Yeah,
let's do this."
Joe, your honorable mentions.
I mean, mine was just the most obvious. It's Dumb and Dumber. It's Harry and Lloyd. It's my whole basis. And then even put Howard and Kumar on there, which is just another.
That's a good one too.
But I don't think I need to explain each one of them.
Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, it's the same. But
James on the Bob. Way to go. Sorry.
See, if this is a dumber podcast, those would have been our answers. That's what sets Flyover apart. We were way above that.
That was a very toxic way of.
So maybe I'm a bad friend, Yusuf. I could be a bad friend.
Also, don't do the thing that bad friends do on podcasts where they go, "Yeah, I like this thing. All right, you like that thing? I like that thing," and then they just move on.
Yeah, you got to talk a little bit about why.
So, TJ, what's the worst in your opinion?
God damn it, Joe! You're such a bad friend by doing that. You destroyed me in Yusuf's transition, and then you fucking took it from me. Yeah.
My episode. What do you
if friendships were based on on good podcast transitions, Joe would be the worst friend.
So yes, I mean obviously you guys can notice now we're talking about the worst friendships on film. I'll just start off right off the bat because I think this is one of the worst friendships, but people fucking honor this movie so much when it comes to friend movies, but super bad. Fucking Michael
Cera on there too, TJ. I thought that was gonna be controversial.
Jonah Hill's character
he's horrible. Such a prick. This is a trope in these type of movies too, where it's like especially if there's a bigger group, if it's like 4 people, there's always one friend that none of these people would ever allow to be around them. Like, you would not hang out with this person.
No, and he's like such an asshole to fucking Michael Cera's character.
It's hilarious.
He uses him over and over again throughout the film. He puts him down. He talks some shit to him.
Of course, Michael Cera wants to be friends with McLovin and go be a roommate with him. Yeah. McLovin rules.
He's a good fucking friend. Like, he's someone who's like, hey, guys, I'll show up when I can, but, like, I'm going to be there.
And he should have kept that vest.
Yeah, dude, like, it's like, even though he looked like Aladdin, it was fucking tight.
That vest.
Yeah.
It was like, toxic. So it was fucking Jonah Hill's toxicity that made him doubt himself. He should have just vibed with that.
I'm going to get a girl drunk and try and make out with her. Like, that from the beginning, I'm like, I don't like this guy. And Michael Cera's like, I'm going to tell her how I feel. He's like, you're an idiot for telling a woman how you feel. Let's get her drunk and take advantage of her. I'm just like, I mean, obviously watching this when it first came out, it's a funny fucking movie, but it's like
one of the funniest.
The more you watch it over and over again, you're like,
check out that top comedies bracket.
Top comedy, it appears.
Yes, but the character and the friendship is such a toxic, shitty one where it's like, you got into a good school. What am I supposed to do? You're like, I know that's like the point of the character, but like, fucking A for people to be like, it's one of the best relationships because they'd go boop at the end. Like,
just because it's about friends doesn't mean it's a good portrayal of good friendship.
It's a beautiful poop.
Yeah. Joe, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So my first one I put on was super bad, but next one, I guess I'm sticking with female friendships for this whole theme. It's Sydney and Tatum in Scream.
Oh yes.
It's what a shitty.
That's a hot take, but a great take.
Yeah.
What do you mean? She literally throws. She's like, "Oh, Sydney, you went through all this stuff. Whatever."
And she's pretty cash about like bringing up the Sydney's mom stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, one of my biggest things with Scream is always like people act like a year of your mom being dead is a long time in that movie. And I would be like still probably if my mom had died when I was in high school, I'd probably still be curled up in my bed.
Not only died. Fucking
murdered,
butchered, brutally murdered.
National television.
Well, and they talk about Sydney having to testify in Cotton Weary's trial, which means that shit probably only happened a couple months ago. Trials take big murder trials take a long time.
And not only murder,
Winfrey knows your name.
Yeah,
you've been on Nancy Grace.
Yeah, not only murder, but like the adultery version of it too, where like your mom's been cheating, and you're like you have to take that into
Tatum,
fuck off.
Tatum, and yes, I did have to look at her name. I'm not going to try to sit here and say I remembered
Rose
McGowan's name in the movie, but the terrible friendship because Sydney also goes through her like life thinking this is a great friend.
Yeah.
That's my best friend.
Yeah, and
essentially,
Doofy obviously ends up being a better friend.
Yeah.
in the
just limping
series, right?
along till the 4th.
Can I make a bet right now that in the brand new Scream movie that's coming out, Officer What's His Face and Sydney
Die.
Okay, sure. I was
you gonna say hook up?
No, they're gonna die.
They gotta finally pull the trigger on killing one of the main trio, or this movie's gonna be total bullshit. They need to do it in 4.
Brian, tell us about Bueller.
Okay, I have 2 picks. I have 2 picks, and both of them feel like they are brother and sister picks to Joe and TJ. And then, yes, my other pick was Ferris Bueller.
He's a terrible friend.
Goddamn, he's the fucking worst.
That is the greatest pick.
I hate that Yusuf knows me so well and that I've become so predictable. At least I've avoided the Chewie and Han thing. But as far as my other 2 picks, like I said, they both feel like they're kind of variations on what TJ and Joe said. As far as TJ's pick, I picked Randall from Clerks, another friend who always is stepping in it. And like the movie always portrays what he does as ending up being good, but more often than not, he fucks up Dante's life horribly. And it just because Kevin Smith writes it that way, it turns out okay. But yeah, he does. He just does horrible shit. And then my variation on Joe's was Annie and Linda from Halloween. They treat Laurie like shit. They're awful.
It's something with horror movies, right? Like my other honorable mention, which is a really bad pick now that I see it written hours later, is the two leads in Jennifer's Body, Jennifer and Needy. But that's the point of the movie, so bad pick.
Yeah, but for Halloween, it's exactly what I was saying. It's just people take advantage of the one good friend that
you got one friend who's a nice girl, and you just use the shit out of her.
Do you have the house to yourself tonight? Do you mind if me and fucking what's his face have sex in the master bedroom?
Cum stains all over the.
You take care of my babysitting job, which I'm still gonna get paid for, but you take care of it while I go bang my boyfriend and sing a shitty song about him.
And then they also fucking blackmail her with if you don't do that, we're gonna tell Paul that you.
Well, they already called Ben Tramer, and they're like, maybe if you do what I asked for you, I'll call Ben and tell him that you're not.
It makes no sense.
No.
Yeah, but Halloween kills, bro. My pick is Fight Club, Tyler Durden and the Irish.
Well, this
is a Chuck and Wilson situation here.
I'm kidding. Harry Potter and Ron with Hermione. They are the worst friends to that little girl.
I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Harry Potter to Ron because I think that flies.
I mean, I feel like everybody in that circle, but Hermione is actually a good friend.
No, but that's a Ferris Bueller situation.
Trying.
Hey, she is a Muggle, so come on.
Where Harry Potter,
she's a half-blood. Okay.
Sorry, Ferris is come on, Cam, let me fuck up your life. That's Harry to everyone around him.
Yeah.
Shit, man.
So that friendship is very toxic. Hermione is actually trying to be a good friend. I just think about when she's having a crush and super happy with the Russian dude, Crumb. And they're like, fuck you for trying to dance and have fun. And you're like, what the fuck is wrong with
you? They make her feel like total shit. That part sucks.
And
okay, I know they were
sorry, go ahead.
I know they were it was a love triangle. But Jacob to Bella in the ending of the Twilight saga, because he goes, you're married, that's all cool. You're pregnant, boom. Let me just fall in love with your unborn daughter immediately.
Well, there's a little difference. He
imprints on her. It makes no sense. Yeah. This is not a Twilight podcast.
But that's coming soon. Okay.
My honorable mention is Bradley Cooper in The Hangover. That's the biggest douche in the fucking world. Patient doctor, F word, and putting the suite in his credit card and getting him in trouble with his shitty wife. It's he's so horrible.
A good friend who I went to their bachelor party, and we're in our early to mid 30s, and he had some friends who were like Bradley Cooper's, who were come on, bro, yeah, we need to get absolutely annihilated in the first 10 minutes, and it's first of all, I'm an adult, and second of all, I'd like to drink and have a good time all night and not black out and then be a horse's asshole. And it was so yeah, I can definitely vibe with that.
All right, man. That's it. I don't know. Any more honorable mentions?
Yeah, I got one. Michael Myers in himself, Eddie Murphy in himself. There's a few times where those come into play, but for a lot of times we need to stop being friends with ourselves and let other people have the roles.
You know what? Yusuf mentioned one earlier, though. A real pick that just came into my mind. Sideways.
Mine was real.
Yeah. Sideways could be definitely. But it was me. Yeah, who mentioned it?
All right, man.
Can
I love you.
Can I add one addendum to this topic of
goes again.
This is my episode.
They call him the Segway killer.
Yeah, no, and it's not friendships, but it's the worst relationship I've ever seen on screen, and that is in the movie Daddy's Home. The wife, Linda Cardellini, to Will Ferrell, being her husband. She's the worst wife ever represented on screen that's trying to be presented as a good wife.
That's a good topic.
I never watched those movies because they looked like trash.
So. Oh, they're trash. They're trash.
They're trash.
They're trash. But when you're sitting around...
Will Ferrell hasn't made a good movie in like 15 years.
Hey, man.
Well, when did Step Brothers come out? That's probably the last.
The holidays,
the other guys.
Your mom's like, is there any good comedies out recently? And you're like, I don't know. I haven't seen this. It's probably fine to watch with the family. You watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get it.
All right, man. I love you still. Doesn't matter that you killed my segue.
Nah, I love man.
I love you too, man.
Get it.
I love you, bro Holmes.
I love you.
I love you, man.
Meow.
All right, so
I love your mom.
Because of the wedding, I fucking hate you, TJ.
Don't fucking talk to her about that.
Everybody's got a friend who's got a hot mom. I've got one too. It happens.
She won't make it this far into this episode.
She'll bail way before this.
Yeah. I'm gonna clip it and send it to her. I know she's on Facebook now. Sorry.
She would fucking listen to it. She loves me.
She loves
she was so excited to tell you guys that story about how she heard 5 minutes of podcast.
That was a great moment. We have a lot of pictures of that moment. That was fun.
Yeah.
Very well represented in my photo album.
Yes, and that moment looks more like we're all like posing to hear the story.
It does. It looks like a catalog. We have all such good reactions. Like your mom was talking, and we're all like, it's genuine. We're very animated.
But I had the guys watch one of my favorite comedies of all time, a comfort movie, and that is I Love You Man from 2009, starring Paul Rudd, Rashida Jones, and Jason Segel. And the cast is star-studded, but that's your 3 leads. Simple premise: Paul Rudd gets engaged to Rashida Jones, realizes he has no adult male friend.
Beautiful Rashida Jones.
Yes,
he
realizes he doesn't have any male friends, so he sets out, encouraging from his wife to go find some male friends.
Because she has a big group of she has like a core group and then a wider group of very close friends. So it's very obvious the disparity, and it starts to like point it out to him. And we're given the impression that he's always kind of been a girlfriend guy, like he's just a dude who was always focused on his relationship and never really had guy friends.
Yeah, and and the cast is followed by Jane Curtin, a rare appearance of Jane Curtin, being delightful.
The cast in this is killer. Like everybody,
Simmons, Samberg.
We talked about Jon Favreau, and then the Queen, Jaime Pressly. Can we take a second just talk about how amazing Jaime Pressly is in everything?
So this movie does something great with Jaime.
The Joe Dirt to Ringmaster to My Name is Earl pipeline. Like, come on.
Yeah. This movie does something great with Jaime Pressly, where they actually have characters just talking about how hot Jaime Pressly is.
Right.
Like, Jason Segel is like,
you should be obligated to point out, if Jaime Pressly is in your movie, you should be obligated to be like, Jesus, that woman is insanely hot. Because, like, in reality, if you were around a person that looked like that, you would have to talk about it.
One of the best scenes.
Yeah, you have to mention at least.
Like, I love that because that is something, like, I'm just jumping in the movie, like, especially Jason Segel's character, right? Sidney Fife, like, that's something, like, that guy would say if he saw her friend being like...
Sidney Fife has big Kramer energy where he just says what he thinks all the time, you know?
Yeah. But, so, yeah, is this a first watch for anyone, or has everyone seen it?
I had only seen it once, so this was my first watch probably since around when it came out, which is over 10 years ago now. I didn't realize this movie was over 10 years old.
Yeah. This was a surprise. I remember seeing it in theaters, and
it was right in the heat of the Apatow like explosion. So it was one of those. It's like I remember seeing it, but also kind of just being like, "Yeah, this too. I get it. It's all they all kind of run together."
And this one has nothing to do with Apatow. I could have sworn he was like a producer at least.
I thought he was a producer.
But it feels very much in the vein of those movies.
So I'm gonna fold my cards out on the table. Like I think this movie holds up extremely well. I watch it quite frequently throughout the year. But I went and I looked at all the Rotten Tomato reviews, like just the blurbs, and almost universally all the rotten ones were like, it's not quite an Apatow, or like some version of like, it's not raunchy enough for me to like it. And it's like, well, that's not the movie.
Honestly, I think it's better than an Apatow because like they have good writing instead of just letting people improv. It's tighter. Like I'll tell you how I knew this movie was good is that I had to rent it and I sat down to watch it. And usually if I'm watching a Flyover movie and Sarah doesn't have any interest, she'll go to a different room and watch something else. But we were hanging out while I started the movie, and then she stayed and watched the whole thing. She bailed on the plan. She had to go do something by herself and watch
Sarah, So Sarah has become, for Flyover, has become my barometer is if I'm a piece of shit or not. If you're like, Sarah didn't stick around or not. Well, I've seen this movie so much, I actually was just going to put it on and kind of do the same thing. And Laura gets home and she's like, why aren't you putting on I Love You, Man? And I'm like, oh, yeah, let's throw it on.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that you can watch at any time. Same thing that we talked about earlier. It's like start to finish, middle, even like 15 minutes left. You just put it on. You can just go out with it. Yeah. But the reason you picked this is for like the friendships and the wedding that comes up in the whole film. The whole premise of the film with like him having to find friends and like they go through the blind date scenarios. Joe Chuglio is probably one of my favorite fucking.
Oh my god!
With the soccer.
It's hard to beat the Thomas Lennon runner, but Joe Truglio is pretty great too.
What's cool about the Thomas Lennon this movie, like, which I was surprised, like I said, with some of these reviews, is they don't go for like gay jokes or bad gay jokes in this movie.
No, it's not. It's not like a homophobia. It's not done in a homophobic way.
But that was one of the like bad reviews of it, or at least the blurb, and I was like, that's completely opposite of what you're watching.
No, Paul Rudd handles it very well. He's not. Yeah. He's not like, dude. Like,
he got all up in
by
there.
The situation.
Well, I was gonna say, like, you get like these like comedies with like your girlfriends and wives that are like a big part of it, and like the husband or boyfriend normally does the most unnecessary lie, and then he kisses her at the end of the night when she gets in bed, and she's like, "You taste like cigarettes. Have you been smoking?" And like he's like, "Yeah." And then he just goes and divulges into like what happened.
Yeah, I like that about his character that he never devolves.
Which is a real thing. Like, you love
a lesser movie would have had him like treating her worse the closer he got to Sydney. You know what I mean? The closer he got with Sydney, the more like guy hang time he would have like. And he doesn't do that knowing. Like, he doesn't lie to her. He doesn't, it's
he's very earnest.
Inadvertent. Like, the stuff he does kind of offend her is more inadvertent.
Also,
the best scene in terms of showcasing his earnestness is like when he's preparing all those fancy drinks for all the girls.
Oh yeah,
and he's about to come in, and they're talking just mad shit about him, and he still comes in with a smile. And he's like, all right. He didn't want to make it about himself and ruin her party. He's like, just take the drinks, and I'm just gonna leave
and
with my tail.
That scene particularly, Yusuf. This movie is the king. I think it's informed my like lexicon, like how I talk for the last decade, of just side commentary of like there have been pirouettes, Pepperidge Farm, like like that, like there's just these little like
over talk when like a conversation happening, but you're just like saying little things that go along
like I still call people, like I quote this movie frequently that I don't realize I'm quoting. I'm like, all right, you got it, Jobin. Like it stayed longer in the quotes than I think this movie. Like I said, I looked up these bad reviews and everyone was like, it's forgettable. It's all the blah blah blah. This. I'm like, I know so many people that'll.
I still like. I remember thinking at the time it was pretty good, but I just never really went back to it.
Yeah, I have one.
I think it holds up.
I'm gonna have one blurb I read for you guys at the end because I was so baffled by how wrong it was. But
well, I was gonna say, like, even with like all these like great characters and like the great friendships and the fun stuff you get. One of my favorite characters in this is Jon Favreau, where it's like we've all been in relationships. We're all been obviously you guys are all married, but like you get that one friend you're kind of forced to hang out with because the wives
somebody's husband or something. Well, I think I told you guys because of the whole we're getting together in the Jersey thing and everybody was getting along so well. But I think I told you guys, like, I feel there's been many times where my friends' wives are not a big fan. Like, I feel like I've got some friends whose wives are kind of like, oh, great, Brian, huh? Like, you know what I mean? And, and don't get me wrong, I get it because I could be a lot. I understand,
Dude, Jon Favreau is just being an asshole, but just being like, nice to meet you. And it's like, yeah, I've met you like 20 times. Like, I've had that interaction just with people that like.
So good at this. I love Jon Favreau.
Actually, that happened at my That happened at my wedding.
And him just
I swear at the wedding, a family friend who I'm going to their wedding at the end, like in a month. He goes, it's my brother's friend. He goes, hey, like this is like his fiance. And their whole family sitting around. I go, I know. I literally said, it's the first person I said hi to in that after, like the ceremony thing, cocktail hour. I'm like, oh, I know. I've met you 9 times. Like, I know I'm coming to your wedding. Like, we've met. And they're like, no, you haven't. And I'm like, well, first, I don't have time for this, but I had that exact,
this is my wedding
day, dude. Okay.
Like, do you play in a band? No, I don't play in a band. You play any instruments? He's like, no, I don't play anything. He's like, I'm gonna go to my table and just walks away and just leaves them hanging.
Decorator.
Yeah.
The scene where he's just destroying them at poker and like just
an asshole.
I like a while ago, I watched the special features on this, and like Jon Favreau specifically, and I think there's 1 or 2 other directors or people in there that were like pretty big at that time that make cameos.
I know how we said this doesn't feel like Apatow. It does feel like.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
He was like doing like Iron Man 2 or something where they're like, it was just a favor to the director to come and like work scale to just be like, yeah, I'll come in and be funny for a little bit.
Yeah. Probably like one lot away from each other, essentially.
Probably.
I have to say, I do love a movie that talks about how awkward and difficult it is to make friends as an adult.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, you have your group of friends, and also because I predate the social media era a little bit. For me, I'm more used to like friends just kind of coming and going. You know what I mean? I feel like nowadays Facebook and Twitter and everything keeps people connected even when they separate. But like when I was younger, it's like you have people that are a big part of your life for like a couple of years, but then they move or they get a new job and you don't get to hang out, and then they're just kind of gone. Yeah. Now, it doesn't mean you're not friends with them anymore, and if you see them, you still can get along with them. But like, I feel like that's a little, and then like you do find yourself with not many close friends anymore. And then I think I made one real good friend in my 20s that wasn't somebody I knew from high school. And then I made you guys in my 30s. Yeah, and not to say that I haven't had other friends. Like, obviously, you know, I had, you know, I hung out with the tough people and stuff like that. I met them online. But, like, close friends that I feel like, you know, it's a move to another level with, you know.
Yeah, I feel like and if you find a good friendship in your later stages, like, I feel like, I have friends that are actually going to come over they live in San Francisco and they're going to come over for New Year's. We married them. Like we met them late in our lives and we've become so close. And I feel like it's because of that feeling of like, especially what Paul Rudd comes through and that when he makes him almost his best man. He is his best man, actually. Yeah,
he is.
He makes him essentially his best man.
Fuck you guys.
She's about to cry.
It's because you value a friendship more because you cultivate it based on like true feelings and true common interests instead of like, oh, he's in my classroom, you know, like, okay.
This is a sidebar because I mean, not that we were all friends already when Joe got engaged, but as because of the length, and then we've only gotten closer. I'm sitting there, I'm watching Joe's ceremony, and I'm looking, and I'm like, some of you would be replaced if he had made this groomsman list
this
year instead of 2 years ago. I'd have that spot, motherfucker.
3 years ago.
Up there.
It's funny, man. After
I'm
the
looking
whole
around.
night,
I'm like, nah, you could get cut.
after that whole night and Sunday morning, me and Amri's sitting there, and we're talking. She goes,